1987 and Margaret Thatcher just got a third term as Prime Minister here in the UK. Ford bought Aston Martin and Rick Astley shot to #1 with his release of Never Gonna Give You Up. Welcome to Driven Flawed. Today I'm not driving anything other than a desk, but I wanted to share the story of my first car with you. It was a wonderful red Alfa. It was a pile of rust and a piece of junk, but it was my first car, and you never forget your first car. A month after passing my driving test, I got pulled by the police and was apparently going a little fast, but all was well, and so I got to carry on that night on my way. A month after that, sadly, that was where that car's journey ended, as I managed to have an accident in it which left it in pieces. Sadly now all I've got is a few photos and some memories, but what a great car it was. Go back maybe 7 or 8 years, I found myself with a itchy trigger finger over eBay, always a dangerous thing, and there was a silver Sprint Veloce again, this time a Trofeo special edition that had been messed around with in the past. All the Trofeo editions were silver, and someone had painted this thing green really badly, and a couple of the other things that were missing, but I knew what it was when I saw the wheels and saw the interior. It was apparent it was the Trofeo, and I was able to piece it together and discover that this was in fact number 184 in that run of 200 UK cars that had been manufactured at the time. I think there were a similar number, from what I understand, in Germany, in Australia, and in the home market in Italy. And there may have been some in France. I've not been able to identify that. So there's a bunch of these around, but not many. Certainly in the UK, right-hand drive, there were a couple of hundred, and this was 184. We had to get the decals right, which we managed to do by sourcing it from the one other Trofeo in the country that I knew of at the time, who were able to give me the specs on their decals for the exterior. Most of the special features remained, and so that wasn't too tricky, and the all-important, beautiful wheels were there, and we were able to get those brought back up to speed as well. No idea how many of these are left. Can't be many. There are only a couple of hundred anyway. Even just regular Sprints, regardless of the Trofeo edition, you see them so rarely. So I'd be fascinating to know if there are more out there, either Trofeos or others. I know that number 19 met its sorry end in a breaker's yard in terms of the Trofeos, but you see Sprints around occasionally. I keep an eye on classifieds. You see them in Europe more, over in the Netherlands, places like that. They come up occasionally, and they seem to be sitting around the kind of €15,000 mark over there, but they are not common. With about 30 years between the driving experiences of the two cars, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but as soon as I sat in the silver one, it was like I was 17 again, and it all came back to me. It was just this lovely feeling of what that car smelt like and felt like. My memory had not tricked me. It was exactly as I remember. Every surface, every smell, it was like meeting an old friend. A couple of weeks before I sold the silver Sprint Trofeo, I made a video. It's a bit ropey, but it's worth taking a look. Gives us a sense of what I felt about the car and how it was driving at the time. It's a solid running car, doing well, no real issues, revs nicely, second gear's a good change, third is nice, happily ticks along. I've thought it'd be a good idea just to fix up the camera, clip it up, and drive you around. Thanks for taking a look at the video, thanks for taking a look at the car. I've had it for a couple of years. It's always performed very well. I've been gradually restoring it mechanically. Bodywork is beautiful, as hopefully you can see from the photos, but this video is really just to give you an idea that it's running well. There are no real issues. It's revving cleanly. It's got really quite nice changes. everything happens as it should. These are just so much fun to drive, these little 1.5 boxers. The Sprint has a wonderful feel to it. It's incredibly light, easy to drive, and these sort of delicate pillars, lots of glass, similar to many cars of that era. It had a very nice touch to it. Styling wise, I think I'm probably biased, but I think it's a great combination of being pretty and also being aggressive. It's that rare piece of automotive design where it all just kind of comes together at the right moment. The lines compare favourably to its stubbier brother, the Alfa Sud, which itself was a great little car, but there was something about the Sprint, those longer shapes, that just look stunning. As a 17-year-old, I don't really appreciate many of these things. I just wanted to drive it and turn the stereo up. The engine bay on the Sprint was a pretty tidy affair. It's a classic little 1.5 boxer engine, makes a great little noise, buzzes along, it's got decent movement. I mean, by today's sports car standards, it's not particularly quick at all, but it's one of those kinds of cars, you rattle in on the country lanes, you feel like you're in a rally. It's just tremendous fun. Driving the Mach 1 could hardly be more of a contrast to the Sprint. It just has this extraordinary blend of power and aggression, comfort, usability, reliability. I could just talk about it for hours, but you can't escape the truth that it's a very complex car. Because it's very clever, it's very capable. These days that means complex. It has this wonderful manual gearbox. In all other respects, it is a thoroughly modern creation. It's a world away from cars like the Alfa Sprint. Hit the like button or subscribe, and I'm going to keep posting about the Mustang Mach 1 and about the XJS and the E-Type. Thanks for joining me today for this story.